Okay, so we're going to talk about the next three shapes today. We're going to talk about trapezoids, rhombuses, and kites. Again, I'm going to try to make this video as quickly as possible. So trapezoid is probably the hardest formula, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to add the bases, the parallel parts, multiply by the height, and then divide by 2. So if I look at example 1, my bases are going to be these parallel parts. So I'm going to take 15 plus 17, multiply by the height, and then divide by 2. So 15 plus 17 is 32, times 7 is 224, and then divide by 2 and we get 112. So the area here is 112 inches squared, because again, area is always squared. Okay, let's try another one. So again, we're going to add the two bases, so 12 plus 16, which is 28, times 4.5, and then divide by 2. When we do that, we get 63 feet squared. Again, area is always squared. All right, let's look at our next one. So on this one, I would want to add my two bases. So I have 8 plus 18, which is 26, times the height. Now here's the problem. We do not know what the height is, so the height is not given to us. But we have a right triangle, and we know that if we have a right triangle, we can figure out what the other side is using Pythagorean theorem. Since this part is 8, and this is 18, that means this missing piece here is 10. The box always points to our hypotenuse, so we're going to have the height squared plus 10 squared equals 11 squared. So h squared plus 100 equals 121. Subtract 100 from both sides and we get h squared is 21. The last step is simply to take the square root of 21. Now when I do that, I get 4.58, which is going to round up to 4.6. So I'm going to use the height as 4.6. And then I'm going to divide everything by 2. And I get a total of 59.8 inches squared. So this one we had to do Pythagorean theorem first, and then we use that as our height to be able to find our area. All right, last trapezoid here. It has bases 9 and 12. So we're going to take that 9 plus 12, which is 21. Multiply by the height of 6, and then divide by 2. And we get a total of 63. This is in meters squared, so that would be my total area. So it gave you the bases, and it gave you the height. We just had to plug it into the formula. Okay, as you can see, our next two shapes have the exact same formula. So it's 1/2 d1 d2, or d1 times d2 divided by 2. So the important thing to remember is that the D1 and the D2 are the diagonals. So they're the part that crosses in the center. So for example 5, we have a rhombus, and it tells us that this part is 15. And since the diagonals are bisected, we know that this part down here is also 15. And then of course on the other side, since this part is 13.5, that means this part is 13.5. So this whole diagonal here is 30. And then the whole diagonal on this piece is 13.5 plus 13.5, which is 27. And then I just multiply those and divide by 2. So 30 times 27 is 810, and then divide by 2, we get the area is 405 feet squared. Okay, we're going to look at a kite next. The kite and the rhombus are the same, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this whole diagonal, which is 12 plus 4, which is 16. And then this whole diagonal here, 9 plus 9 is 18, and then divide by 2. So 16 times 18 is 288. Divide that by 2, and we get 144 feet squared. All right, next one, area of a kite. Diagonals are 13 and 14. So 13 times 14 divided by 2. 13 times 14 is 182. Divided by 2 gives me 91 centimeters squared. All right, last example. All right, rhombus, the diagonals are 16 and 21. So 16 times 21 divided by 2, which gives us 336 divided by 2, and the total would be 168 feet squared. So now all you have to do is the Google form. Basically, it's going to walk you through these three shapes again. It does have kind of a harder problem at the end, but just work through it in those pieces that I gave you and you should be all right. If you have any questions, let me know.